Great day, great day, great day. It's me. It's me. Happy YouTube Day, guys. Um, I'm sorry, I'm eating orange slices and talking while I'm recording. So, um, I can always tell you, today's my favorite day of the week. I feel like it should be yours too. So, we're doing something different today. So, I remember I told you guys I wanted to start doing interviews with people that I'm really close with. So, my friends were so scattered, so it's really hard for us all to get together or to get together. So yeah, I'm getting my hair done before my birthday, so I figured like why not record? So my sister, who's also a friend of mine from my childhood, we grew up together. She is going to be my guest in today's video. So this is Sierra.
Hey guys.
So she's a hair extraordinaire, a hair connoisseur. She's famous. She does the celebrities' hair. I can't say that now. I want to get her in trouble, but yeah, she does the celebrities' hair. However, so book her. I'm gonna put her information in the bio. So book her, book her, like.
Not right now.
Oh, never mind. Don't book her. Don't book her. I lied. Don't book her. Don't call. Leave her alone. Don't call her. Don't call her. Folks just don't
it's
want.
It's not the season for it, okay, guys.
Folks just don't want overflow in their life. Anyways, so listen. So, yeah, so we're just gonna talk and record while she's doing my hair. We're not gonna do it the whole time, but just just to talk. So, a little backstory. I spent most of my life in Florida. Grew up in Port Charlotte, Punta Gorda. Sierra went to a church, and I went to a church, and they were both in the same community. So that's how we ended up seeing each other. We went to high school together. Our graduation years are a couple of years apart, 1 or 2. But yeah, so as adults, it's so crazy. I think it was after I graduated, that's when as we both graduated, we started like seeing each other, communicating, and we just became close from there. So she's here in Atlanta now. I'm here in Atlanta. And this is just what we do. I think a couple of years ago, she's colored my hair a couple of times, but now we're doing something different with my hair. It's my birthday hair. So, yes.
It's your birthday. It's your birthday. Hey.
So, what we're going to talk about is something that she and I talk about pretty often. Just navigating through life, especially like in this walk, and being Christians, but also dealing with dating and dating in the Christian community, as well as dealing with our flesh in a way.
Lord help us.
Please, because the struggle is real. Like the dating pool is pretty much a swamp. And that's what I feel at this point in time. So, yeah, so we're just going to ask each other a couple of questions. I'm just going to, what would you say your biggest struggle has been when it comes to just, navigating how can I say it? Staying in Christ, but also, the wanting and the desire for a partner.
Well, I mean, I have to be honest. We slip and we fall.
We do.
We slip, then we fall. We slip again, we fall, we get back up. So I have had a little juggle going on in my life sometimes in this season. But don't judge me, go judge your mama and go write a judge. But anyway, when it comes to dating and it's like a Christian, it's a little challenging. Because you don't really know who people serve. You really don't.
Right.
You really don't know who people serve. You have to get to know them. And then the first and foremost, we want to be friends. But nobody wants to be friends. They want to jump in the pool first. They don't want to sit on the pool side for a little while. They want to jump in. And when you jump in, that's when your heart is broken. That's when you're unequally yoked. It's just a whole bunch just adds with that. But it's just challenging. That's all I can say. Is just challenging. And it just depends on where you at, because you can be on the streets, you can be at the gas station, you can be at church. It doesn't mean that they don't serve Christ, but you just have to know who they are and who they serve. You just have to know that. And you don't
what's
know
their
that,
relationship? What's their relationship like with God?
Yes, what's their relationship with God? And some people lie just to get.
They do.
Yeah, just to get to that pool.
Because they can see, I know like I've grown up seeing you, so it's like I can see how somebody could see you and they could see like, all right, like she's really like strong minded, she's strong minded in Christ as well. So to get her, let me make it seem like I'm like this strong man of God.
Don't be.
I think the thing that contributes to that is and it is difficult. It is difficult for me. It's like even with my sexuality, like just because I'm gay does not mean that I don't want someone that also serves God as well, you know? So it's like what I've learned, we're just gonna keep going as we're going. What my struggle has been is like meeting someone that I don't have to explain God to. And I understand like you're gonna have to sometimes meet people you're gonna have to minister to. However, it's just like for me and where I am in my walk, I don't want to be in a place where my walk is hindered to help you in yours. Or I put my walk on hold and you're not serious about your walk and I'm trying to help you pursue something that you really don't want. You don't want a real relationship with God, you know? I think what also contribute to that whole thing about just jumping in the pool is like for me, once I got grown and I got out the house and I could do whatever I wanted to do, baby, I was hot in these streets. Like you can tell me nothing. And excuse my language when I say this, but you know we're very honest on this page. And I say I have no problem chopping my personal business, but I had a really good hoe phase. Like my early 20s, like I lived life and I experienced everything that I needed to experience and not experience. And I think that whole jumping into just wanting to, I think is we see our friends doing it, and some of us grow up in strict households. We can't go out and see what our friends are doing. And like I know a couple of my friends, they was out there and they was in high school and they was throwing that thing back like it was nobody's business.
Right.
But it's like once I got out and about and I was on my own in a sense, nobody taught me how to handle the responsibility that came along with, abstinence. Everybody always preaches, just don't do it, just don't do it, just don't do it. But nobody wants to have that honest conversation about, like, those desires, right. Those wanting to be with someone, those wanting to feel someone's touch. Like, nobody has those just don't do it. What do you mean don't do it?
Yeah, like, explain a little bit more when you just say, like, don't do it. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what you want people to do. Is explain to me why we know the Bible. Those who know the Bible, that y'all know the Bible. But at the end of the day, people that's in church, you still have temptations. Like, it happens. You still have temptations, but you just have to know the word of God and who you want to serve at that current moment, and you have to know, like, hey, your flesh gotta die.
Basically, and nobody teaches you how to control your flesh. But I think nobody also, it's so many different aspects to it. Grace isn't taught neither. It's like, I've seen...
Nobody judge you.
Right.
As soon as you make a mistake, it's as if you about to go to hell.
And the crazy part about it, you're being judged by people who are cheating on their spouses.
Exactly.
With other people in the church.
I'm like, hold on now. Like, wait a minute. Just calm down. Like, don't act like I'm out here just acting a fool.
Right. I learned so much as I became an adult, seeing other adults. And I'm just like, the same ones telling me don't do it or don't do this. Like, it's and I'm going to say this without saying it, but I'm going to say it. I was judged in a sense because people didn't know how to handle me being gay and having that so close to them. And it was just kind of like, I was being told don't do this, but you're cheating on your spouse. Or you got an addiction to drugs, stuff like that, you know?
Yeah, because people like to keep their skeletons in the closet.
Right.
And then they like to tell you what you shouldn't do. But I do understand that people are saying that because they don't want you to go down the path that they went on. But you have to explain to me.
Have
the
that
path.
discussion.
Yeah, let's talk about it.
Thank you. Because otherwise, if you don't give me a map, I'm just going to go into it blind. And if you're not providing me in a safe space where I feel like I can talk to you about this stuff, I'm going to do what I'm going to go and find out for him. I'm a curious individual. So I'm going to go and find out for myself, you know? And that's what I did. I mean, I learned a lot of lessons the hard way, but it's crazy to me to see that, like you said, you know, nobody's explaining like what happens. Like, all I ever saw was the unfair parts. Like I've seen grown women get pregnant by somebody in the pulpit, and the girl gets sat down, but the minister's still preaching and never understood why. Like nobody's teaching how to properly. It's not even just the flesh part. Nobody's teaching how to have healthy relationships or to cultivate healthy partnerships. Like when you talk about being unequally yoked and stuff like that, it's like you haven't had this thing. It's like you want to be able, like, to go to church and enjoy church with your partner.
Say that again.
You ever had that? It's like you want to be able to go and enjoy church with your partner.
Oh, absolutely.
And it's like them enjoy it as much as you. And it's like that for me. That's for me. Like I prayed for that. Like I prayed for that, and I still pray for that. Just someone to where it's like I don't mind being a vessel, but I also like I don't want to go through hell to get it. You know? And it's like I want someone that's able to understand what comes along with this walk, the hard parts that come along with these walks, especially being gifted. And it's like when you're anointed and God has called you to do certain things, it's like the stresses that come along with it. The moments where it's like I need to get a tissue or a napkin. I need to find one. I need to get it. It's a matter of the whole praying aspect. Like, I'm sorry, I got a little off track. I want to be able to, like, if I'm having a bad day, my partner sits there, and instead of them saying, let's just talk about it, let's talk and let's intercede. Like, let's pray. Like, I'm going to put this before this word done. Just want to, like, let's pray each other through it, you know? And, yeah, I think that I think I've learned a lot about unhealthy relationships to where I know how to be in one. And now I'm navigating, okay, I know that my relationship with Christ is important. I still want somebody to be included in that as well. You know?
Yeah.
And I think it also has to be said, like, okay, boom. You have sex before marriage, it's a sin. But, I mean...
But it doesn't mean that you're not getting married. Understand that. Just because you have sex before marriage, it doesn't mean that you're not going to find your mate.
And it doesn't mean you're canceled out.
God is not punishing you to just say, oh, you're not going to find your mate because you had sex before marriage.
I'm going to take it a step further. It doesn't cancel the promise.
But you have to ask God. It doesn't.
It doesn't cancel the promise.
It may delay it just a little bit.
Right, because you got it. Because like when you, I think if it would have been explained to me properly, it wouldn't have been as enticing. It wouldn't have been as enticing. And I mean,
but we get influenced at school. You know what I'm saying? At a young age, you get influenced. You get influenced. Like, you know, some of your friends, maybe some unsaved, you know.
But you know
friends
what?
are doing things, and you like, well, what's that about? And so then you get caught up by trying to be in a trend. They say
to fit in, but you know what? It wasn't even school. The world got a hold of me, and the world turned me every which way but loose, and I let it. I let it. I learned a lot. I think another thing that's not talked about is when you take on in a relationship, you take on what comes along with that person as well. You take on their flaws. You take on those spirits too. Like, and I think if that would have been explained to me, as far as like, you know, when you have sex with someone, that's a not just a physical exchange, it's a spiritual and mental exchange. I would have used more discretion, because now it's like once I realize and have a better understanding of spirits and how they transfer and what sex really is, as far as like that exchange, I'm realizing like damn, I've been spending the last 7-8 years not just working on my stuff, working off a bunch of other people's stuff.
Those spirits.
You know? And it's like
it's strongholds, it's
baby,
spirits that you have to cancel out.
Soul ties and
soul ties.
And I want to say this to those of you who are navigating through these relationships, whether you're straight, gay, indifferent, confused, never do what you don't want to do. To young girls or older, whoever, to women who are watching this, if you don't want to do it, don't do it. I told a young girl one time before we were talking about just being in high school and navigating through her relationship with a boyfriend, and I was telling her, this is a while ago. This happened, and I want to say I was in my 20s, and I told a young girl, I said, baby, I said, if you don't want to do it, don't do it. I said, if you're going to do anything with anybody, do it because you want to, not because you feel pressured to do it. Like me, I'm at a place, even at 36 years old, if I don't want to do something, I'm not gonna do it, because I don't want to, and I don't want to go to God, and I already got a couple of things I gotta explain, or more than a couple, but I gotta be like, God's, but why'd you do that?
You already know,
right? And it's like, I'd rather go and explain to God, I did this because I wanted to do it, versus doing it because somebody else told me to do it, when God gave me the willpower to. And it's funny because I can already see God now. Well, when I told you to pray, you didn't want to pray. You had no problem telling me no, but you ain't tell that raggedy nigga no. And I'll be like, you're right, God, I didn't.
I mean, there are consequences.
Yeah.
Because you made a choice.
Right.
So the choices that we make, we have to understand that there is consequences after those choices. But it just, your blessings are not denied. They just are a little delayed when we make the wrong choice that God didn't intend for us to make.
Exactly. And that whole thing I see so often in church, where people are getting married just to have sex, because the marriage bed ain't defiled.
Yeah, I don't understand that. I'm like, I'm not getting married just to have sex. Like, no. No. I'm getting married so that we can do what God intended us to do on this earth while we yet still alive. Not just to have sex. No, sex will be...
Listen,
I ain't gonna deviate. I ain't gonna go off the...
I mean, no, this
it's gonna be magical. No, but I'm just saying.
Listen, we have honest we have honest conversations here. Listen, we laugh, we talk, we cuss, we pray. We do all that here. But I think that's the thing, is not being afraid to have those conversations. And I mean, especially with us, we're in our 30s now. Well, I mean, we just don't look like it. But it's just one of those, hello, listen.
Yeah, we are 80s babies.
Hello.
And 80 babies. If you born in the 80s.
Listen, because good black don't crack, and we ain't smoked it, so therefore we're good to go.
Hello.
We have a responsibility to give, and here's the thing about it. I want to say this: our parents did the best they could with what they knew.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I'm gonna say I want to get that out and say that first. Even with that being said, now we have the responsibility having more. I want to say more of an understanding, more of an understanding of what's out here and what's going on in our trials. Cause I know, let me tell you something I did that I shouldn't have did, but I did it anyway because I wanted to. I was so desperate to have somebody in my life. I got with somebody that I knew I had no business being with. They convinced me to stop going to church. They gave me every reason to not go because they were scared to face God. And I wasn't scared to face God. But I knew in order to keep this person in my life, like, I just couldn't keep God in the middle. And I've said this before, it's like, any relationship without God is a shipwreck waiting to happen. Mm-hmm. And I got with this person. It was toxic. It was physically volatile at the end, but it was verbally volatile through 90% of the relationship. And I remember, and I'm gonna say this with I'm gonna say this, and I know I have a few people I look up to and respect, and I don't want this to be taken in a disrespectful way, but I remember laying there after sex feeling like I being sick to my stomach, and it was. I realize now that sickness I was feeling was because that was my body fighting off what they were passing over to me from them. That didn't belong there. And I always just had this thing, anything that's not of God, remove it. So I still stayed with his trifling ass, right? I stayed with him. I remember I had lost my job, and then he broke up with me. And then when I got my food stamps, he got back with me, told me to move with him. I moved with him, and then when the food stamps ran out, he told me I had to leave. And I was just kind of like, where I'm supposed to go? He was like, I don't know. So I remember I moved to Atlanta for the first time, and then we got back together once things started popping off for me again. And then it turned into him wanting to get engaged. And that, like, I want to say we broke up in October. New Year's Eve of that year, we ended up, he proposed to me and I said yes with my stupid ass. And I knew that wasn't somebody I was supposed to be with. My friends tried to tell me, but I was like, I'm going to do what I want to do. And I also want, and I'm going to get to a point with this when it comes to relationships. A lot of the reasons why a lot of people can't find happiness is because we're navigating relationships with our unhealed selves. Like
You about to like alfalfa in a minute.
It's okay. I think with me, I wasn't healed. So I was expecting being with him to heal me. And I was expecting being with him to do what only God was ordained to do. So I got engaged and he moved to Atlanta. We broke up that March, and I had found out mind you, he proposed New Year's Eve. He had been cheating since mid-January. So it was kind of like, you asked me to get back with you. You asked me to accept your engagement. I did. You were mad because my friends weren't supportive, and you proved them all right. And left me with nothing but sadness, depression, and hatred for myself. And it took me years to get past that. And it took me a while, and it took me a couple of more bumps in the road to realize like that whole saying where they say, how are you going to expect somebody to love you unless you love yourself? Like, I used to always hear that, and so I realized how true that is, because I'm expecting somebody, I'm expecting somebody to teach me how to love me, and they don't know me.
Now, you first gotta love yourself.
Right. And I've also learned, in order to love yourself, that requires you to love God first.
Yeah. You can't go in a relationship not loving yourself. It's already set up to fail.
Exactly. Because you're never going to properly be happy, because that person. And then another thing is, like, when you don't love yourself, you put on a facade. You put on this fabrication of who you are, and that person is loving the fabrication, and they're not really seeing you for who you really are. So they're loving who you pretend to be, and you're like, why am I not happy? Because that's not you. You know? Yeah. Like that whole healing thing, it took me a couple of bumps in the road. Like, I used to feel like in order for a person to love me, I had to do stuff for them. And me, like, I have that's another topic for another day, so we're not going to go too deep into that. But it's just one of those things to where it's like, I was doing their part and my part. And I'm trying to figure out, like, why am I just dealing with lazy ass people? And that's because I'm not making them do the work. And it's so interesting. It's like, for me, and I can say this, is like, even, I'm going to stop saying even with being gay, it's just one of those things to where it's like, even like men in church, and having to be a man in church. Like the dynamic is, I think it's an amazing thing to see, like real men standing up in church and willing to take charge in their relationships and be men to their wives or be husbands to their wives. You know, and I'm a firm believer, like
men are standards.
Thank you. And one thing I also like. They say the man is the head of the household, but
it is
the woman. She's the backbone, and the head can't turn without the neck. The head can't turn, move, or do anything without the neck. It needs the neck.
Mm-hmm.
You get what I'm saying? And I think it's just, and that's any relationship, whether it's the head, it has to be a healthy dynamic to where you guys balance each other out. And it goes back to that whole being equally yoked. Like equally yoked. And I mean, and just because a person isn't equally yoked with you doesn't mean they're a bad person. It doesn't mean that they're
just not for you.
Right. They could just be good as a friend.
Yeah, they somebody
could be
else.
right. And
let them go.
Listen, with a smile on your face.
Yeah, that's cool.
With a smile on your face, and it's no hard feelings. It's just I'm just not who God has set. I'm just not who God ordained us to be together. My words just went all over the place, but just you know what I'm trying to say. Like you're just not the person God intended for me, and again, that's okay. I've you know, thinking about it, like, and I think about this pretty often, and I don't want nobody that I grew up with to take this to the dig. I can't count on my hand how many healthy relationships I grew up around. Mm-hmm. I can't. And that's family and church and everything. Like, I think I know two married couples that are still together.
All it is like it be generational curses that people continue on
mm-hmm.
down the bloodline, and you have to break them. So that it has to be somebody that decides to break the generational curse. And that would be me.
Listen, I'll be that person. I'll be that person. I look at my parents and their divorce.
It's not easy.
But listen, it's not.
I won't be carrying this to my kids.
You can't. Like, I look at my parents were the perfect example of what to do and what not to do. And I'm gonna just leave it at that. But they were the perfect example of what to do and what not to do, and I learned so much from them as well as other couples I've seen around me. And it's like I watched my parents sacrifice their happiness to make the other person happy. And it's just like, I want a partner that wants to see me as happy as I want them. I want them the same way that I want to see them happy. I want them to see me just as happy. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that has to be the goal. Like, I want to see you happy. You want to see me happy. We're going to see each other happy. Like, one shouldn't have to sacrifice more. And that's not because, you know, relationships, finances, they're going to be unequal at some time. There's going to be moments where I think Michelle Obama said that. She said, if you think marriage is going to be 50-50 the whole time, she said that shit is a lie.
Yeah, it's not.
Her exact words.
Sometimes it's going to be 100-0. You don't never know what can take place. But you still got to love on that your spouse. Sometimes it'd be 80-20.
Right. And even in do you know what I find? Speaking of, you know what I find so trashy about this dating pool? This new dating pool is trash. And I said to myself, you can meet someone.
They don't want to date. They don't want to be with anybody. Nobody. So what's happened is that men are not wanting to be in a relationship, and women are doing the same thing. So mm-hmm. I don't blame it on one gender. You know,
it's everybody.
It's everyone. People are just out here fly by day, fly by night, and it is what it is. In the church and outside of the church. So that's kind of like what's taking place. And it's like what's happening. But all it is the Bible revealing itself.
Listen, we're in Revelations. You know what everybody wants you to take care of them. Mm-hmm. Everybody wants you to come and you don't want to date me, but you want your bills paid. Right. You and that idea can go to hell. Mm-hmm. But I see straight men like that. I see straight men that walk around and they want a woman to do everything for them while they sit on their ass. And I'm like,
nah, you just doing too much.
I'm like, oh.
Because you're the provider.
But want to be the man of the house.
Mm-hmm.
I'm the man of the house. This is my wife. This is my, but she's doing everything.
Now, that's one thing if I need to help because something is taking place.
That's different.
I'm gonna help. I'm gonna help him, but it's one.
I'm talking about walking into the gate.
If you decide not to work, that ain't happening, partner.
You ain't working. If you're not working, we're not gonna work. Yeah. But I get it. Life happens. People go through things while dating and stuff like that. Like I remember one time my daddy had gotten into an accident at work. He got hit in the face with a pipe. And my dad, up until my parents got divorced, my daddy took care of him the whole time they were together. And when my dad hit in the face with a pipe, my mom had to not only go from taking care of all her kids and holding down the household as far as cooking and cleaning and stuff, she had to also take care of my dad, take him to appointments because he was down for the count for a while, and the finances weren't the problem, but that balance of you go to work, I hold the house down, you do your thing. I make sure that you're straight from when you go to work and when you come home from work. It came time from those 8 hours he would go to work and she's just managing the kids. Now she has a whole household to manage. Mm-hmm. Like my mom got her break when we were at school. So it was like she's able to manage the house stuff, like taking care of things she had to take care of for her and for us and for my dad. Mm-hmm. But once that went out the window, because it went from her having that time of peace and quiet when we were at school to where she had to take care of my dad. So that could have been easy. Then there was a time to where my mom had got really sick and my mom was having many strokes and stuff, and my dad had to call for reinforcements. However, it was one of those things where both people had to learn how hard the other person had to work. My dad learned about taking the kids to school, making sure they ate, making sure homework was done, making sure laundry got done, mm-hmm. as well as dealing with his work. My dad was a supervisor. So he was always running across. My dad spent so much time running around the state of Florida doing work. Like when my mom was sick, having to go to Tampa or go to Daytona or go to Miami and be back in Port Charlotte by 6, 7 o'clock. But they managed it well, Mm-hmm. So I think people have to understand. Nobody's willing to work for it. Nobody's willing to work for it, and it's disgusting. It's disgusting. We put some chlorine in this little dating pool. Chlorine or something, cause hell, sick of it. And it's even dating in the church is hard. Like you said, for me, it's I'll meet people, I like them, they like me, and then it turns into we're comfortable, it's a vibe, we're getting along. And then me, I live my truth because I don't believe in living a lie. I believe in keeping some things to yourself. I'm asking you a question next. Remember public dating. Mm-hmm. I believe in keeping some things to myself, but they would be so scared of people figuring out what we were that they would stop talking to me. And it's what you fail to realize is your secret was out before you met me. But mm-hmm. people would get scared of what Coolio. Other people. Oh, let me see. Get a little.
You like Coolio.
Oh. No, it's
just the foundation.
Just that's it. It's no more. It's gonna be pretty in a minute. Uh-huh. But it's people didn't. I experienced it a lot, and my thing was I could never live a lie. But what are your views on when it comes to I know when you get married, everybody's gonna know. Eventually, when you get into some phase of your relationship, everybody's gonna know. Mm-hmm. But what do you feel about just publicly being out there dating, or on social media and stuff like that? What are your thoughts on that?
I don't need to show that.
I feel you.
I mean, if I'm dating you, I'm not showing you until we're exclusive.
Right.
Yeah. I don't really need to do all that. I don't really care for all that.
Hold on, give me some matches. When I keep using my ex-fiance as an example.
No, I mean, okay, I will say this. if we out at the park and stuff like that, if I'm doing like a video,
Yeah.
and you decide to be in it,
That's cool.
You're in it, and
but
you're
it's
dancing
like,
or whatever. I'm not gonna be like, oh, I'm gonna show your little arm.
I'm not
I'ma show
including
you a hand.
everybody into my relationship.
Yeah, I'm not including
right.
people in my relationship anyway. But I don't. It's just I'm gonna be normal.
Right.
I don't have to
right.
Be, yeah. I don't be like, oh, I'm out on a date with my boo thing and I'm showing him and stuff like that. No, because that's when opinions and too many conversations start happening and everybody's being too.
See, I love taking pictures, but I love to keep pictures for myself. Like I love taking pictures.
I don't even show my life like that now.
But it's right. So like even like with this platform, it's like I do feel like some things I love to keep to myself.
And you should.
And it's when I was engaged, I never wanted to post my relationship because I felt like it was my business. And my ex was like, are you just ashamed of me? And I'm just like, I don't feel like it's none of nobody's business. Like date me. Enjoy dating me. Let me enjoy dating you and being with you. And the crazy part about it is to make him comfortable, I started posting about us and posting pictures because it made him feel better and it ended a lot of the arguments. And lo and behold, when he cheated with someone he met online, and because they had seen our pictures and stuff. And I'm just like, how you gonna cheat on me with a hoe that was liking our pictures? But I do feel like, with relationships, it's okay to keep some things to yourself. It's okay to enjoy things to yourself. Like I have pictures and stuff with my friends that I've never posted that I keep to myself because I just feel like they're memories for me to enjoy, look back on, for me to post on their birthdays or to post randomly. But they're not to be like, world, let me, because we live in a jealous world. People will want to sit there and want to experience what you got, even if they have to take it from you instead of finding their own. Now, I'm going to tell y'all a secret. You ready? You ready? Let me lean forward. Hold on 1 second. Baby, if he cheats on his spouse with you, what makes you think that your coochie is good enough to where he's not going to cheat on you too?
Period.
Just want you to know. Because these days, cards are accepted everywhere. It's not just cash only, baby. Listen, debit or credit is accepted everywhere. Listen, something warm to lay in is something warm to lay in. Yours don't make it no different than somebody else's, baby.
Right.
I want that understood. Like, you have to be very... Like, I can't get with the whole cheating culture. Like, brag. I remember I seen one time this girl was bragging about, oh, I messed with her man and da-da-da-da and da-da-da-da.
Yeah, there's nothing to brag about.
Baby, listen, I'm going to put this disclaimer out. Mess with mine. Mess with mine, you going to meet your maker. Together. Both of y'all. But I know, I don't want to be naive and be like, cheating can't happen. But it's just like, when you go to pursue something that's not yours, it's going to always come back to bite you in the ass. No matter who you are. You just got to be careful. You just got to be smart. You got to be careful. I kind of got sidetracked and got a little angry a little bit because I get mad about thinking about cheating because that shit is disgusting to me. Like, why would you cheat? For what? For what? And help me understand this. Why? And some of y'all who are watching, maybe some of y'all who have cheated can answer this question for me. Why do y'all cheat with bottom of the barrel people who can't do nothing? Can barely wipe their ass properly, but you're cheating with them? Come on now. If you're gonna cheat on me, make it make sense.
Right.
Make it make sense. Make me be like, yeah, I get that. Yeah, I get that. That makes sense. But I'm sorry, I feel like I'm going all over the place. But this is a conversation, so. But I just think like one of the most important things that I'm learning is it's okay to take your time. It's okay to get to know a person. It's okay to enjoy getting to know a person. You can figure out their likes, dislikes, their triggers. You can figure out, like, it should be to a point. My thing is, get to know me, and I'm just giving an example. Get to know me to a place to where when I answer the phone, even in my regular voice, you know something's wrong. Because you took in the time to get to know me.
You taking the time to get to know me.
You know? when you have a foundation that's built on straws, it's gonna crumble. When it's built on feeble foundation, it's gonna fall. It's not gonna stand. But when you build a foundation on concrete, like even I remember through a hurricane, our house went through a hurricane, and we experienced a lot of damage. Water got in. Our house was destroyed. However, the foundation stood strong and it wasn't knocked down, even to the point to where the pool cage, it looked like God took his hand, grabbed the cage, and just twisted it. Like that wasn't even up off the ground. So it's like when you build something on solid ground and on solid foundation, it doesn't mean that you're not going to have storms. It doesn't mean that you're not going to have leakages or issues, or because anything that you have is going to require maintenance. Mm-hmm. It doesn't mean that you're not going to have things that are going to have to be repaired, fixed, upgraded. It's all about making sure your foundation doesn't crumble. Long as your foundation is strong, you'll be all right. Mm-hmm. They'll be all right. It's kind of like, God is solid foundation. And I've learned, can I tell you something that I learned from you that I admire about you?
Me?
Yeah.
What?
You're very strong. You're very strong and caring, but you stand strong in who you are. I've never heard you just succumbing to whatever nigga wanted you to do. Like I've never heard you be like that. Like I've always respected you. Just I'm like, dang, it's like she really just like. And again, it's not to say people have their faults. People have them.
Yes, I have them. Trust and believe that.
But it's one of those things where how you carry yourself. I've never. Now this I know for a fact. I've never seen you compromise how you carry yourself for a man.
No.
And we've talked about a couple of people you've talked to, but I've never seen you compromise yourself. And I've always respected that about you. Oh, and it's kind of like that's one of the things that I think people can learn. I didn't pay attention because I'm hard-headed. I got to learn the hard way. I got to burn my hand a couple of times. But
I don't burn it now. Don't get it twisted. Don't have my flaws.
But it's just one of those things where I've never seen you compromise yourself. You've always like you've grown, but I've never seen other people sit there. They the niggas took them through, but I've never seen you sweat. And I'm sure you've sweated, but just how you.
But I think I'm a person that I'm a person where I'm not gonna beg you to be with me. Mm-mm. I can't do that. It maybe some people think it's pride. Some people may think it's ego. Whatever. It's just that if you don't desire to be with me, it is okay.
I think it's you knowing your worth.
I am okay.
It's not pride. I think it's you just knowing your worth.
Like I'm not begging you. I'm not calling you either too many times.
Mm-hmm. Listen.
Don't answer me if you don't want to.
Listen, gonna call the next person and call it a day. I seen this thing to me it said, and we're almost at almost 45 minutes. We're gonna wrap this thing up so we can talk about other stuff. But
off camera.
Right. It's just one of those, like, to me it said this, and I heard it in an interview years ago, and I love sharing this, and it still blesses me to this day. Somebody had asked Tamia, what's contributed to the longevity in your relationship with your husband, who's an NBA player? And she said they keep dating each other, even as married couples. They've embraced the fact that when they got married, all these years later, they understand they're not the same person that said I do. They understand they're parents, they're individuals, they're growing in their own individual careers. They're growing as a couple, and they're evolving in different. They're evolving as they navigate through their new positions in life. Mm-hmm. So I think that's where I get the whole enjoy getting to know a person. Like I've had situations to where if I would have had my way, I would have been in jail because I would have fought somebody or stabbed them, one of the two. But it's just like my early 20s, like it's a lot of. I realize now, like a lot of if baby, if I would have said I do to that bald-headed nigga, and he pulled that mess that he pulled when we were disengaged, ooh, girl, I wouldn't be sitting here right now. I'd be in jail.
Okay.
Because listen, that swamp water, that dating swamp water, I would have drowned him in it. And that's just what that is. But for those of you who are, well, before, is there anything you want to say to anybody? Or not anybody, just want a piece of advice you want to give to anybody who's dating, especially in the Christian community?
Not at this current, well, really.
Or to the young girls?
Y'all save yourself. It ain't worth it. Just do what you need to do. Follow your dreams. Try not to make too many mistakes. You're gonna make them. I think sometimes mistakes are necessary just for growth. But just when you make those mistakes, make sure that you learn from them. Because if you don't, they will keep coming up over and over and over again. And don't be out here begging nobody to be your friend. And don't beg nobody. Don't beg no one. No man.
Not now.
Not none. Nobody. Zero. Negative. Do not beg nobody to call you. Do not prove yourself. I had a season of that, trying to prove myself to a man or just somebody I'm dating. Like, oh, I'm the perfect one for you. Listen, if they don't see it, they don't see it. They're not for you. Period.
Thank you. That was beautiful. And listen, and please stop chasing behind these little piss poor attitude little boys whose mamas still pay their cell phone bills.
Speaking of mamas, that's my mama calling me.
So while she's doing that, I'm gonna go ahead and wrap things up. I just want to encourage you guys, as you're going through navigating through life in these times, and as crazy as they are, stay true to yourself. Never compromise yourself to be with someone. Never compromise your integrity, your morals, and never let someone turn you away from God. Because even though you'll find yourself running back to God, you're going to have to go back to God with a broken heart. So it's like you turn away from God and you're asking Him to fix a heart that He didn't break. So you guys, thank you guys for taking this time with us here. Thank you for being a guest on my show. This was fun. You'll see her again. I'm gonna start getting consistent.
I'll talk more next time, y'all. I'm tired.
Listen, honestly, this was really good. This was good. I hope you guys got some good points from here. But this is your last time seeing me as a 36-year-old. When you see me on Sunday, I'm going live Sunday at like 1:30, 2 o'clock after I got to church. So yeah, I'm gonna go live on my TikTok. So this is your last time seeing me as a 36-year-old. So I'm excited. I'm gonna do a whole nother video about that because I almost got carried away just that quick. But I love you all. Thank you all for watching. You guys will see the end results. I'm out here next week. And I love you all. See ya.
See you later.